Hey there, everyone. Joshua Shore with you alongside Lauren Moss here on this Friday. Friday is here.
Yeah.
Friday afternoon here.
Sunny Friday, too.
Sunny, beautiful Friday for us here in South Bend, Indiana, where we are. We're inside our newsroom live right now here in South Bend. Lauren, we got a really cool guest coming up. It's about a highly talked about, highly discussed topic right now.
Listen, everyone has been talking about it for months now. Will the Chicago Bears be leaving the city of Chicago? A few states are now making their pitch on why the Bears should move their stadium to their states, including Indiana.
Yep, Indiana's had a few. Gary, we've talked about,
Hammond.
obviously Hammond, and now Portage has entered the chat. We've got some renderings to show you all because these renderings are pretty cool. You'll see here, this is just, again, one of the many locations talking about where the Bears could be going. This is nothing official yet, but it is something a lot of you are talking about. These are the renderings that are just out, these renderings.
And listen, this is going to be a $5 billion project. This is going to be on a 300-acre site that would come privately financed. That's what the city is saying, with zero taxpayer burden and zero debt on the team. Now, you could see it's located, Portage, of course, is located off Lake Michigan, right? The southern shore of Lake Michigan. But it looks awesome. It looks like a big entertainment area, truly.
I'll bring it up so you guys can see it in full. This is beautiful here. You can see what it could look like. Again, we're underscoring that word could right now because nothing is set in stone. There's a lot that needs to happen right now.
And we know Bears fans are feeling all types of way about it. Because we are Bears fans ourselves, so we can say that, okay?
Lauren Moss, you've done the pleasure of making some calls today, and we've got someone on the horn with us here to talk about it all, about specifically the city of Portage and its involvements. It's quote-unquote entering the chat now. We've got someone who knows a thing or two about those discussions.
We got Mayor Austin Bonta joining us right now, Portage Mayor, of course. Mayor, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me here today.
It is so good to see you. First off, Mayor, thank you for allowing us the time to do this. And let's talk first about the initial reactions. What have you been hearing since your city, and along with yourself, put out the information that Portage wants to be a part of these discussions?
Man, so definitely this particular week has been huge, especially when it comes to the attention that the Portage proposal has gotten, what we call Hollis Harbor. It's a really special site, and just to understand, it's an area the city of Portage has been working on to develop into a high-density site, very much oriented on the fact that it is right off the train. You'd be able to get right off the train and walk to it. It's got a waterway. We call it Burns Waterway, but we might change the name to Bears Waterway if need be, and it goes straight into Lake Michigan, so it's accessible by boat.
Are you seriously going to do that if you name it that? Are you considering this?
If we can, we've got the contacts. We can get that done, officially changed. And then also you've got 94 right off the site. It has access from the toll road as well, but 94 is right there. So it's a spot where, you think about 44 million people drive through Portage, Indiana every year. Then you've got the water access, and then you have the train access. So many Bears fans in Chicago, they take public transportation to get to the stadium currently. Being able to take the South Shore line all the way to Portage and then walk to the stadium, it's a perfect opportunity. And we've known that since 2024 when we came in and reviewed the site. What we didn't know until 2025 is that the Bears were going to extend their search for a stadium to the entire Chicagoland area. And that's where we knew that we had to get into it. And so we created not just, we didn't just take our plans for what we expect this site to be one day. We figured out how to add a stadium into the proposal. And then we came up with the fantastic name Hollis Harbor that I think really captures the imagination of a place that fits the Bears' legacy, their future. And then we went to find a funding source that we'd be able to offer the Bears to make it an even more attractive offer and to show our citizens that we're hoping to have zero taxpayer impact.
I was just about to ask you that because, I mean, that is very attractive, right? What has the reaction been from the community?
So the first question that everybody says is it too good to be true? And to be fair, that's what the Bears are reviewing now, and they're looking at the details of our financial proposal, and then they're also reviewing if ultimately the amount of money that we're talking about meets their needs for this site, if this site was to be the site that they, go with. Like I say, it's a fantastic location right in the Chicagoland area. We like to say the same roar, new shore. But when it comes to the finances, we have an investor from Chicago, Lou Weisbach, who has created a really great format to be able to finance a stadium at a minimal to zero taxpayer dollar expenditure. And in this case, we're talking about is $5 billion to be able to pay for the stadium and then the infrastructure around the stadium. We're talking the roads, we're talking utilities, getting all that set up. and then a $2 billion sinking fund to back up the investment. That money will get paid back over the course of a long-term investment from revenue that comes from non-football related events at the stadium, which we anticipate having between 100 to 120 events per year,
Let
which
me
is a little
stop
bit
you.
more than the number of home games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot. Let me stop you. That's a lot of money. A lot of digits you just threw out there. Can you talk about a little bit
Oh,
more that investor and the long-term investment? I think people are interested about who's paying for this because
Yeah.
nothing's free, as they say. But this sounds like
oh,
you guys are committed
absolutely.
to making sure that this is not going to be footed, a bill that's footed by your taxpayers.
Absolutely. And that's take it really simple. Nobody is saying that anything is free, but as far as who's paying and how they get back, what can we do to facilitate that? So in the case of this land, we've had people say, Austin, this sounds great. The idea that you've got a private investor willing to finance the stadium, get paid back in a structured deal based on revenue that comes in from things like concerts, things like conventions, things like just other events that happen besides. But why Portage? Why would they be picking this site? Well, what we offer is the fact that it is 300 acres of contiguous land at a great site currently owned by our city's redevelopment commission. So while we've got a private investor who's offering to pay for the stadium, pay for the infrastructure, and be paid back over the course of a very long-term deal, and by paid back, I mean the company, the institution paid back over the course of a long-term deal, we have the ability to offer the site, which our redevelopment commission owns and has owned since 1995. It hasn't paid any taxes since 1995 because it's government property. That's where the government comes in. We're providing a tax-free site, and that tax savings is what brings in enough revenue that the investor is comfortable being paid back over the course of time.
Have you had any direct communication with the Bears organization? Because what's their response been to this pitch?
We have had communication with the Bears organization. I can't say a lot about how that communication goes or what it's about. What I can tell you is they're very familiar with our proposal. We know that they're studying it, and ultimately we just want to see if it ends up being the best deal for the Bears, both in terms of financing and in terms of location.
Let's talk a little bit about that
Yeah.
dynamic that not only you all, but also Gary, Maryville, other places that we've not heard of, probably as we speak, drawing up a plan, so to speak, to bring the Bears here in town. When you talk about that, do you ever talk to these neighboring cities as well? Have you talked to Gary, and have you even looked at their plan to see how you can make yours better?
That's a great question. And to put really simply, the mayors across Northwest Indiana, we talk relatively often. Some of us more, than others based on proximity. So Mayor Melton and Gary, he and I talk a great deal. I've gotten to know Mayor McDermott and Hammond, certainly the mayor of Hobart. We all talk and kind of see. I don't think that anybody really based our offer off of each other's. I know that in our case, and I'm sure in Gary's case, and I haven't actually seen anything drawn up, for some of the others. I'm sure that we all probably looked at past proposals in Chicago. Certainly, we all studied the Arlington Heights proposal to get a good feel of what we believe the Bears want, and in many cases, what the Bears have told everyone that they want to be able to see in a site. And that's why with our site, it certainly is a large site in terms of 300 acres to be able to fit what they need around it. Really, I think the question for us is going to come down to, is the location in Chicagoland the best location? And we certainly believe it is. And is the shape of the space? Does the waterway work conducively with what they want to see? Does the train work conducively with what they want to see? But like I say, we know that the Hollis Harbor site is definitely a special spot in Chicagoland, certainly a special spot in Northwest Indiana that we know is primed for a great development.
Listen, Mayor, I want you to talk specifically to the stubborn Chicago Bears fans. And we can say that because we are both Chicago Bears fans. And I know my dad, for instance, he can be very stubborn. The Bears are staying in Chicago. That's that. I don't want to hear about it. What do you say to those fans who don't even want to hear about Indiana right now?
So let me ask you, does your dad still live in Chicago, or does he live in Chicago?
Yeah, he's still in Chicago. He's never left. He's always been born and raised in Chicago, yeah.
That is very, very cool. So what I will say is this: Portage is already a popular site for many Chicagoans. There's actually already a muscle memory of coming to Portage, and in particular driving around and past this site. In the summer, you can see people with Illinois plates on County Line Road. You can see them on 249 go into either West Beach and Portage, or go into the Portage Lakefront Riverwalk Park, also with the beach. It's actually the most attended in the summer. It's the most visited beach in the Indiana Dunes National Park, and then the second most attended is the other one in Portage. So people might not always realize it if you're coming to the beach, but there's already a strong muscle memory of Chicagoans coming to our area. This just creates one more thing to come to. Also, I know how public transportation, how useful it is, and I know how utilized it is in Chicago, including for sporting events. If you're more into the train, this is one more convenient way to get to the stadium and walk right there. So I think that on one hand, there's that transportation piece, people realizing that the distance is not so bad. And in many cases, you might have already been in Portage before.
Yeah,
Now, if
that's
you're a
true.
stubborn Chicago Bears fan in South Bend, or if you're or maybe somewhere to the east of us,
Good
well, we
point.
just made it a whole lot closer than Chicago.
And to be clear, this is not just sports. You're talking about a multi-purpose stadium. Off season, you want to bring concerts and
Entertainment,
musicians and entertainment.
stages.
Talk about that because you want this to be a multi-purpose venue. Do I understand that?
Absolutely. And it speaks to really what our goal is of what we now call Hallis Harbor. So when we came in 2024, we had a piece of land that the city had owned since 1995, and there were surrounding properties, also all undeveloped land, but they all had unique shapes. They all had multiple different owners. Being able to develop this area that a lot of people either drive around or didn't realize how big it is right off of a waterway, so close to the train, we knew that this was a highly developable area for something that is higher density, something that has a multi-use facility in it, something that can attract people from all over the wider region by boat, by train, and by car. But we knew that in order to make that happen, we had to have a three-step plan. Our first step was we had to acquire the other properties around it. So through 2024 and 2025, the city worked very diplomatically, very intentionally to buy the properties going east so that we were able to put together this bigger 300-acre site of city-owned land up on the north side of our city. Now, the second part is the connectivity. It's not currently the most accessible site. I often tell people when we go, we're better off going, honestly, around now where the trees and the all the different weeds haven't grown back yet. It's an area where it's not terribly accessible. So for us, getting a bridge built across the waterway is a key part to making it accessible. Getting a north access point from the north end of the property by the train station. We actually have the largest parking lot in the South Shore line, which is pretty interesting, by the train station there
Oh,
already. And to put it really simply, the connectivity was the second piece that we've started to work on. When the Bears announced that their search had expanded to all of Chicagoland, we realized that we had a great opportunity because step three, after the connectivity is established, is to get development. The Bears present for this site a unique opportunity for the connectivity and the development to happen simultaneously and speed up that process of creating what we now call Hallis Harbor, a higher density, transit oriented, water oriented site that is able to have events and brings people to it all year long. And also, you can live there. You know, there's space there for people to live, for
yeah,
people to rent, for hotels.
I
It
want,
really is kind of a second city.
it
yeah.
is a second. I mean, in more ways than one, right? And it kind of harkens back to the motto that is the second city. Let me ask you to wrap this up, Mayor. Make the pitch here if you can, and break some news if you can. Is this really going to happen? Is this like one of those jockeying for position of best city in the state of Indiana, or are there real conversations underway right now?
This is as real as any other of the proposed Indiana sites for the Bears. I can also tell you that there's already increasing interest in the site now, which we respectfully are listening to, but ultimately our aim has been and continues to be, first and foremost, attracting the Bears here to Hallis Harbor.
I mean, Mayor, that says it all, right? And we know Governor Mike Braun is on board. He wants to bring the Bears, the stadium, to the state of Indiana. We really appreciate your time. We know this has been a busy week for you.
Yeah,
But
thank you.
this has been great to talk about.
This is huge, and obviously it has huge implications with so many things happening in the State House to allow for this to happen.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens over the next several months. Obviously, it seems like things are picking up next door in Chicago as well, so we'll be keeping eyes on it as well. Mayor Bonta, thank you so much for doing this with us today and joining us and allowing those who are watching us today to tell the story about not just the Bears, but what you all are trying to do
Yeah.
in order to get the Bears here in Indiana, which sounds like it's more than just a conversation at this point.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much, and you guys have a wonderful day, and bear down.
Bear down.
Bear down.
Mayor, thank you so much.
Mayor, thank you for that. That's pretty cool hearing from the mayor talking about that. I think it's you can talk ad nauseum about the fact that Chicago is trying to jockey itself in a better position and trying to talk about taxpayer this and whatever. And then at the end of the day, you got actual cities putting plans together, having actual investors talk about, hey, we want to do this, we want to make it happen. The question is how and when.
I mean, let's be honest too. We've both been to Soldier Field. It's not exactly the most accessible place. Traffic can back up,
and that's when you back up. The mayor, yeah.
Portage said the #1 reason, right? I mean, the accessibility. You have the cars, right? It's easy to drive to. The train, the South Shoreline Station right there.
Yeah.
It's easy to get to, so could be a big point for the Bears.
And we appreciate him joining us. We appreciate you joining us as well. We got newscasts to get ready for. Of course, we'll see you on Channel 16 here in South Bend. For now, that does it for this live stream. We will see you very soon, everybody.